Heyman Khan here, 4 seconds out with Johnny Nelson, MBE. We just witnessed Jazza Dickens get the knockout victory against Albert Bata Gaziev. Talk me through it.
You know what? This time last year, I would have looked at Jazza Dickens, who seems to be around forever and a day, and wouldn't blame him for walking away from our sport. He wouldn't have at all. Then tonight, you wouldn't have believed one of them was an Olympian in the ring there, and Jazza got the job done. And well deserved. So no matter what he does with his career from this point onwards, that's his night. That's his night. That's his glory. So it was well deserved, and it probably wasn't expected, but well deserved.
Were you impressed by the IBA Pro show today?
Without a doubt. You know, this is the first time I've actually attended one, and I'm like, damn. Everybody feels as though they're part of the show. You guys, the media, have been well taken care of. The guests have been well taken care of. The fans, you know, they had a decent night. It's just nice, a nice energy, a nice vibe. And so, you know, to me, I'm very impressed. The area, the scenery, everything. I have no complaints whatsoever.
Johnny, going into the big talking points, we had a chance to speak to Tyson Fury. He broke his silence on a lot of things this week, of course. First of all, he said that he watched the fight with Oleksandr Usyk, the second fight, 250 times or more, he said, and he felt he couldn't make a case for Usyk winning, and he wants a fair shake if he fights him a third time round. What are your thoughts on that?
I totally understand where he's coming from. He didn't win, though. I totally understand him not seeing that, because he's a fighter that's got been a former world champion, being the top of the world. So for him to accept there's a better man out there for him, it's going to be very hard for him to accept. You guys won't understand it. If you've been a world champion, you believe you're the best man on the planet, you know, it's very hard to accept anything less. And so for Tyson, for that to really sink in, once he accepts that, he's really done. He ain't done. He's just stepped away from as part of his negotiation, as far as I'm concerned. So he's got to tell himself that. You know, but in reality, it's, do you believe me or your lying eyes? That's what you've got to look at. And for you, anybody that watches the fight, and it's about opinion and what you saw and what you thought.
The other thing he said was that if he found himself in the ring with Daniel Dubois, he'd box that MFer's ears off. That could happen if Daniel Dubois beats Oleksandr Usyk, and with the WBC saying that they'd put Tyson Fury back in the #1 status if he returns to the ring. Do you feel the same way? Would he beat Daniel Dubois?
I think he has a beating of Daniel Dubois, yeah.
Really?
But Daniel Dubois is so strong, so heavy-handed. He's a fighter on the rise that actually believes himself. He's 27 years old. He's now had some back-to-back wins that have lifted his self-belief, self-confidence massively, for him to think, damn, you know, I can actually do this. You know, and I do believe Daniel Dubois thinks he goes in there and knocks out Oleksandr Usyk. I really do believe that. And the same confidence he had getting in the ring with Anthony Joshua, he'll have the same confidence getting in the ring with Tyson Fury, because Daniel, you know, Tyson Fury's mind games would not work on Daniel whatsoever, and you saw, and that is part of Tyson Fury's armory when he has a fight. He's got to be able to get into the head of an opponent. He'll either be your enemy or your foe. I don't think any of it will work with Daniel.
Is it a styles thing as well? Do you think?
Listen, as a boxer, Fury's a better boxer. Power-wise, I think Daniel's much stronger, and you know, and Daniel will be all over him, And so Fury's got to be strong, fleet-footed enough, which I think the last 2 or 3 fights of Fury, his footwork is probably getting a bit sticky. He'll need all of that and more to keep a young lion, confident lion off him.
What I gleaned from Fury is that he'd rather have the Usyk trilogy and get the win back over Usyk than face Anthony Joshua.
I like that talk. Anthony Joshua should be shouting about fighting Daniel Dubois. Tyson Fury shouting about, I want the fight with the rematch with Usyk. I get that. I'm feeling. But when you've lost to someone and you're talking about, I'm going to fight somebody else, but I really beat him, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know, if you think you beat the guy that beat you in your last fight, he's the man you're chasing. He's the only name that comes out of your mouth. So I understand what Tyson's saying. Do they think it's a reality and it can happen? I don't know. I don't really know. But remember, he's retired.
Have you and Tyson crossed paths? There's been a lot of crossing paths.
But you know what? We've actually not murmured a word.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. Look, listen, if I think that fighter A is going to beat fighter B, it doesn't mean I don't like fighter B. It's just how you have an opinion. Fighter B is going to be a bit upset about what you say. and they think you've got an agenda. I haven't. I think Tyson Fury, you put him and Anthony Joshua together, and I'd been asked before, who wins between us both? I said Anthony. Tyson offended or whatever, and then vice versa. Why would he give a shit what I think? Yeah, so what he thinks and what he believes. You know, coming through my career, so many people said you ain't going to do shit. I don't hate on them. I just think, all right, my success says it all. And so when you walk away from this game, you understand everybody has an opinion, you know, and it's a case of you don't have to have bad feeling or an agenda if you don't think someone's going to win.
Is there part of you that wants to go up to him and just say, hey? As in a nice way?
If I had to, I would do. But it's like, we aren't friends, we aren't enemies. I just like, all right, that's it, done. You know, I actually bumped into him in the airport.
That's right.
Yeah, it was funny that. And he's all right, Tyson. I think he's all right.
It didn't sound like he was saying all right, sir.
Nah, he wasn't saying all right, apparently. I had him earphones on. It's some like head dick something. I wasn't listening. But he's all right. I just think that's just an opinion. Don't take these things personal, man. We're big people. It's a game. It's a game, a serious game. But so once you start you're being affected by people's opinions, that's when you start to lose yourself. As long as you believe in yourself, believe in what you can do, it doesn't matter what anybody says.
Johnny, appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, bro.